Now let's talk to Harold the H. Look at that chip on the ground. P. Cock-a-doodle-doo. He's been on assignment. He got back last night. He's a very dedicated. I hope he didn't go too heavy on the drinks in the fridge in the rooms we put him up in. But he's got a relationship between Ipswich and Busselton in Western Australia. He's explained the historical connection. Hello there, Harold the H. What's that chip on the ground there? Cock-a-doodle-doo.
Yeah, Danny, I had to be picking up chips because the budget you send me on is really low. So I'm looking for food everywhere I go.
I'll pay the other 25 cents I owe you from that budget. Now, tell us about Busselton.
Yeah, look, this week I was in Busselton, which is over 4,000 kilometres away from Ipswich and 2.5 hours south of Perth.
Yeah.
And I was researching a little-known and I think significant connection to Ipswich. Now, everyone who goes to Busselton walks to the end of the Busselton jetty, which is over 1.8 kilometres long. It's the longest wooden jetty in the Southern Hemisphere.
My flange out of the way.
Yeah, but look, when I was there, it was closed because of lightning and rain. So I think they're a bit soft over there, Danny. Yeah, so then I went in search of the Ipswich connection that is unknown to most people. So I had time in my hands to really dig down deep. Now, the Bussell family from Devon in England were a family of early settlers in colonial Western Australia. The first four brothers emigrated in 1830.
Right.
Then more family members came in 1833 and a couple more in 1834. So they got here very early and made a name for themselves. And today there's the Bussell Highway and the city of Busselton that are named after the Bussell family, and particularly John Garrett Bussell. He was among those first to arrive in 1830. He was well educated, having studied at Oxford University, and his father was an Anglican clergyman. Now, meanwhile, from the same Bussell family in Devon, there was a Miss Anne Bussell. Now, she was born in 1834, and her father was also an Anglican minister who was educated at Oxford University and likely the brother of the Bussell brothers in the West. Now, while her cousins settled the southwest of Western Australia, and a city now bears their family name, Anne's life took a different path. And that is a little-known yet significant connection to our great city of Ipswich.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, you see, Anne Bussell married the Reverend Lacey Rumsey. Now, like Anne's father, Reverend Rumsey was an Anglican clergyman. He held the incumbency of St Paul's Church here in Ipswich for 6 years, from 1858 to 1864.
Holy snapping.
You know, during this time, Reverend Rumsey actually performed a marriage ceremony for which he was called to give evidence in a murder trial in which the groom chopped up the bride, put her butchered remains in a box and carried it down Sussex Street in Sydney.
Dun, 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 dun. How's breakfast, folks?
Yeah, but but in the meantime, back here in Ipswich, at the end of their term at St Paul's, Reverend and Mrs Rumsey were given as a gift an elegant inscribed silver tray and 150 gold sovereigns. They were super popular here in Ipswich.
Wow.
Now, the couple returned to the old country and both passed away in Wales in 1915. Their last resting place is marked by a small and really simple stone cross. They could easily both have been forgotten forever. However, Danny, you put me on the case. And so not only have I discovered the connection of Mrs Rumsey, or the former Anne Bussell, to the city of Busselton in WA, but her husband, Reverend Rumsey, had a huge legacy here in Ipswich, which cannot be ignored. Now, firstly, Reverend Rumsey was in charge of the parish when the landmark building, St Paul's Church, was completed right in the centre of town. So he was there when it was done. It was officially opened on Whit Sunday, the 12th of June, 1859. The initial service was conducted by the minister who raised the money. But the first evening service that same day was conducted by our Reverend Rumsey.
Wow.
And secondly, Reverend Rumsey actually created Ipswich's crest and arms that you see today. You see it on Ipswich City Council buildings.
Yes.
Even on the Ipswich mayoral chains of office. And it features a crown, a cross, golden fleece, and symbols of mining, industry, agriculture, and the paddle steamer, which, of course, are all Ipswich's early industries.
What's the Reverend's name?
Reverend Rumsey, Reverend Lacey Rumsey and his wife Anne. And they, of course, they both now rest under that little stone cross in Wales. But, gee, they played a really important role in the history that we see today right here in Ipswich and, of course, over in Busselton.
Now, he designed the current logo.
That's right, yep.
And we don't even know him. I thought Paul Pasali did, but, jeez.
Well, we don't know him personally. He hasn't been here for a while, but he played a big role, and you can still see his presence here, not just with St Paul's, but whenever the mayor comes out in a change.
Well, how interesting is that? How holy snap and doglats is interesting as that? There he is. Now, how do we find this story and all the other stories about Ipswich?
Yeah, look, I'm posting this one tomorrow on my website, historyouthere.com, and I'll put photos of the Ipswich crest there as well, so you can see exactly what Reverend Rumsey and his wife Anne left behind for us.
Historyouthere.com, and you can hear Harold the H. Ark, 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 ark. What's the chip on the ground there? Ark, ark. Peacock on West Bremer Radio. You can hear him this time. It's so interesting, and I enjoyed that little. Don't forget about Reverend Rumsey, who invented the Ipswich logo, thanks to the knowledge of Harold the H. Hark, 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 Peacock a doodle doo.